Notorious is the name of my book. Some people call it an autobiography. I call it my life story because it means more to me than an autobiography. You know, you don't write a book every day, do you, about your life? And I've led quite an interesting life. It's going to be released very soon exclusively to buy on my website and my website only. That's what I call the soft launch before Christmas. And then we're going to have a second launch in the new year where people can buy it on all the traditional bookshops, Amazon, etc., etc. I've lived a very long, fruitful, interesting, dangerous, tricky life. And I've never been interested in writing my life story, despite people saying to me, you should write a book, you should write a book. But I found in the last 12 months or so, so many people have asked me about my story, about my life, about the journey that I've been on, as opposed to the work that I've done as a journalist or host of Inside the World's Toughest Prisons. So the time was right, and I'm ready to tell people more about me than I am about the people I report on. The book doesn't take on my series Inside the World's Toughest Prisons in any detail. Of course it references it. This is a book where I share moments in my life that I have never shared before. Stories about me, my upbringing, my family, personal things to me that I've protected in order to protect the people that I love. So for the very first time, I'm sharing stuff about my intimate life, what I was like as a 5-year-old, a 10-year-old, a 15-year-old, as a prisoner, as somebody who came out of prison and went on to lead a very successful career. So this is, for the first time, the kind of inner workings of myself. I get asked a lot because of my Netflix series how I got the scar on my face, and I've never told anybody. It's not something that you share, or I've shared, because it's none of their business. But I've revealed in my book for the first time how I got the scar on the left-hand side of my face. So if people really want to know, they can read it in my book. There are other stories in my book about the physical beatings that I suffered whilst I was in prison, the fights that I got involved in, the people I hurt as a result of protecting myself. So yeah, there are lots of things in my book that I reveal for the very first time, especially those kind of personal stories to me that I've never felt people have needed to know, but now I'm ready to share. I met notorious or infamous or famous people while I was in prison. They themselves were serving long prison sentences. People like Reggie Craig, Charles Bronson, Winston Silcott, the Birmingham Six, and other individuals who were high-profile prisoners or high-profile criminals. So I came across these individuals, you know, and share those moments in my book where I met these individuals and how our paths crossed. So there are stories about other people that I met during my time in prison that I don't share lightly, but they are a part of my story. You know, I don't put them in my book just because they are who they are, or because they themselves are famous for being famous for whatever it is they did. Like Reggie Craig, for example. He was a friend of mine in prison. I knew him for many years. You know, he's a man who came into my cell and had deep conversations with me about his life. So it's only right that I feel it's fair for me to share those stories now.